Autism and ADHD are two of the most talked about neurodevelopmental conditions today. They're often diagnosed in childhood, they share some overlapping traits, and yet they are fundamentally different. But how different? That's what scientists set out to answer in a brand new study by looking inside the brain. In this video, we're going to explore what this new research reveals, how autism and ADHD light up the brain in their own unique ways, and what it all means for diagnosis, treatment, and the future of personalized care. Let's dive into the science and the story. First, let's talk basics. What are autism and ADHD? Autism Spectrum Disorder, often just called autism, is a condition that affects how a person communicates, interacts socially, and experiences the world. It can come with unique strengths, like deep focus or memory, but also challenges, such as sensory overload or difficulty reading social cues. Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, or ADHD, is defined by difficulties with attention, impulsivity, and hyperactivity. People with ADH often struggle to focus or sit still, but many also show creativity, spontaneity, and high energy. Now, here's where it gets tricky. The two can sometimes look similar. Kids with either condition might fidget, avoid eye contact, or struggle with routine. So, how do we tell the difference? This is where brain science comes in. In 2025, researchers published a new study in the journal Nature Mental Health. They used advanced brain imaging to compare functional connectivity in people with autism, ADHD, both conditions, and neurotypical individuals. Functional connectivity simply means how different parts of the brain talk to each other while at rest. They analyzed brain scans from hundreds of participants across different age groups using a method called resting state fMRI. Their goal? To see if autism and ADHD had unique neural fingerprints. And the results were eye-opening. So, what lit up in the brain? Let's start with autism. People with autism showed stronger connections between brain regions involved in sensory processing, visual networks, and the default mode network, which is tied to self-reflection and internal thoughts. This helps explain why many autistic people experience sensory sensitivity or deep introspection. Noises might feel louder, lights too bright, or textures overwhelming because their brain is literally wired to process sensory input more intensely. Now let's look at ADHD. In those with ADHD, researchers saw more disruption in the executive control network, which governs focus, decision-making, and self-regulation. There were also issues in the salience network, which helps decide what information the brain should pay attention to. So, while autism ramps up sensory and social self-awareness, ADHD affects how attention is managed and shifted. Same surface behaviors, very different internal wiring. Here's where it gets even more interesting. Some people are diagnosed with both autism and ADHD. And yes, that's entirely possible, and more common than once believed. The study showed that people with both conditions had hybrid brain patterns. They didn't just combine the traits, they formed a distinct profile of brain activity. This is a big deal. It shows that comorbidity, when two conditions occur together, isn't just a coincidence. It reflects a complex neurological reality. It also highlights why diagnosis and treatment should never be one size fits all. So, why does this research matter to parents, educators, doctors, or anyone who cares about mental health? Because it proves something crucial. Autism and ADHD are not just labels based on behavior. They are biologically distinct brain conditions. Understanding this can lead to more accurate diagnosis, tailored therapies based on brain function, not just checklists, and less stigma because people see these conditions as differences, not deficits. It also opens the door to more personalized support. For example, a child with autism might benefit from sensory friendly environments, while a child with ADHD might need structure and tools for self regulation. And if they have both, they'll need an approach that considers both sides. But of course, no study is perfect. This research is an exciting step, but it's still early. Brain imaging is expensive, and patterns vary from person to person. We're still a long way from using brain scans to diagnose autism or ADHD in a clinical setting. Still, this is a glimpse into the future. Imagine using a combination of behavioral observation and brain scans to customize therapy. Imagine early intervention programs based on how your child's brain naturally processes the world. It's not science fiction anymore, it's where we're heading. To sum it all up, this new study confirms what many have long suspected. Autism and ADHD are deeply rooted in the brain, but in different ways. They may share some symptoms, but they are not the same condition. Understanding how they light up the brain differently can help us build a world that is more compassionate, more informed, and more effective at supporting people with neurodivergent minds. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe for more science-based insights, and let us know your thoughts in the comments. Because the more we understand the brain, the better we can understand each other.